What's up, everybody? Welcome back into another edition of Tide Talk Live. Stacey Blackwood, joined as always by my good buddy Jake Thomas. Jake, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Just excited, to be back here talking a little bit, depth chart projections. We're going to do the offensive line tonight, so I'm ready to get into it, brother.
No doubt. I think this is going to be a fun one. I think this
Mm.
is one of the most intriguing position groups on the team. It really is every single year. Everybody loves the offensive line here at Alabama, so cannot wait to dive into that. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're closing in on 2,100 subscribers, so help us reach that just as quickly as possible. There's no reason we can't reach that, just within 24 hours of this video publishing. So help us do
Mm-hmm.
that. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and then jump in the comment section below and give us your thoughts on the offensive line post spring. Kind of give us your projected starting five and who could kind of play a role as a reserve offensive lineman for the 2023 football season. Also, jump in the description below and you'll see a link to our store where you can purchase a Tide Talk Live t-shirt or a Tide Talk Live coffee mug. So we would appreciate that support as well. All right, Jake, let's just dive right into it, buddy.
Do it.
This is exciting group to dive into, in my opinion. I'm really excited about the offensive line under second-year offensive line coach Coach Eric Wolford. So I think there's a lot of talent there. I think there's a lot of youth there. I think there's a lot of potential there. And I'm just excited to kind of break down this position group. And before we kind of look at our starting five and who we think can kind of press for some playing time, just your thoughts on the offensive line as a group.
Oh man, I love this batch of kids here. We talk about not really having a superstar. We really don't, but we have a guy in JC Latham who can potentially be a superstar out of this unit, and then another guy who has that potential as well is Tyler Booker. So I think I saw some early 2024 projections, and they had Latham as a potential top 10 pick potentially if he reaches that level. And under Coach Wolf, man, this unit has gotten better each and every year, and you can see what they're going after, what he's been recruiting, and that's big, burly, just grind it out and just run you down top of offensive line like we used to have in the past. So I'm here for it. I am here for it.
No doubt.
Yeah.
As you can tell, Jake's excited about what the potential of this offensive line could be here in 2023 and really beyond 2023 because, like you mentioned, the way that Coach Wolf and Coach Saban have attacked recruiting offensive linemen the last couple cycles really is telling of what the future is going to look like there up front for the guys. And I'm with you, Jake. I think J.C. Latham has a chance to be a superstar. Tyler Booker has a chance to be a superstar. You're rock solid with Seth McLaughlin at center.
Right.
You like some of the talent that's there along the left side of the offensive line, but they got to prove it. And so there's stuff to be proven. There's improvements to be made, but there's also some real talent and just kind of some nastiness back in that group that we hadn't really seen over the last few seasons. And we've talked about it before, Jake. When you have a finesse offensive style of football because you have elite quarterback play dating all the way back to Jalen Hurts to Tua to Madden to Bryce, you got to revamp your offense a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
you can't ask an offensive lineman to pass pro 40 times a game and then get up by 20 and expect him to get to start playing hard nosed football, throwback football the last few minutes of the game and try to milk the clock. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
physicality is something that you occur. You have to work
Mm-hmm.
for that every single day in practice. So I think Alabama's getting back to that style of play. You can see that with the way they've recruited the running back room, the tight end room, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously the offensive line. And so we're going to be looking at the offensive line, kind of post spring depth chart, and kind of our starting five at this point in time, and a couple guys that could make some noise down the road. Jake, I think we're probably usually everybody works from left to right. We're going to start from the right side because I think that right side, right tackle to center, to me is pretty much solidified in my opinion. You got J.C. Latham at right tackle, Jake. The guy's entering his junior season. like you mentioned, he is oozing with potential. I mean,
Hmm.
he has first round top 10 uh, NFL draft potential. So I
Right.
think if he can continue to kind of craft his game and just continue to learn to play, with balance and power and he's a guy who could be a really a superstar offensive tackle prospect. So I like J.C. Latham at right tackle. He's nasty. He plays hard. And then you got Tyler Booker at right guard, Jake,
Hmm.
a guy who come in as a freshman and really started taking snaps away from some mature players, and he
Yeah.
really proved probably to be Alabama's nastiest offensive lineman, a guy who just gets after
Hmm.
it. You don't want to see him pulling in the running game.
Mm-mm.
He gets to that second level so well and finishes blocks, and it's just one of those guys that you don't want to line up to if you're a defensive lineman, because he's going to bring it every play. He plays with an angriness really,
Yes.
and he's just a lot of fun to watch. And then you have Seth McLaughlin, I believe, at center, just a not a super talented kid, Jake. He's not a superstar. He just kind of gets the job done, and he knows all the calls. He knows where to set guys up at. He knows who everybody's supposed to be blocking on every single play, and he's really just the communicator of that offensive line and kind of the anchor of that offensive line there in the middle at center. So I think from right tackle to center, Alabama's in really good shape.
Absolutely. Yeah, you run the ball on that side of the field, you're going to get some yardage because like you said, Booker's got that nastiness about him. JC Latham is, pushing that superstar thread. And if I remember correctly, I think he only gave up like one sack all of last year. So, he's a lot down, tackle. You're not going to get past him on most occasions. And him and Booker, I feel like going to be really, really strong on that right side. And then, like you said, Seth McLaughlin, when he come in a few years ago and kind of just took over when Dalcourt got hurt, the offensive line seemed like to be started playing a little bit more better and a lot more focused. And I still believe Dalcourt has a place on this team. We're fixing to talk about that, but just for the experience wise, I think he can be good as well. But Seth, man, when he come in, that offensive line kind of solidified itself, and he was the glue that held it together.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think that's a good word for Seth McLaughlin. He's kind of that
Hmm.
glue guy along the offensive line. He just kind of gets everybody set up where they need to be.
Hmm.
Like I said, he calls the signals. He knows what everybody's supposed to be doing, and he
Hmm.
does a great job of communicating that. And he really does a good job of kind of keeping that offensive line together. And so we really like what Alabama has from the right tackle to center.
Hmm.
They're really solid there. And then you move to the left side, Jake, and Darren Dalcourt got most of the snaps at the starting left guard, and
Hmm.
Elijah Pritchett got most of the snaps as the starting left tackle, and I think it's likely those two guys will be there when fall camp starts in
Yeah.
August. But I think we're both also in agreement that you could see some younger players
Hmm.
maybe take one of those spots. And
Hmm.
whether it's left guard or left tackle, I think you can't talk about this offensive line without talking about Kadyn Proctor, the true freshman 5-star from Iowa,
Oh,
who is a mammoth of a man at 6'7", 354 pounds,
yeah.
who is probably going to be just too good not to get on the field.
Hmm.
Honestly, it reminds me a lot of the way Tyler Booker kind of started his career. I don't know if you remember, but last spring as a freshman, Tyler Booker started at right tackle. Then
Hmm.
some injuries happened along the offensive line on the interior. I think both McLaughlin and Dalcourt kind of got banged up, so they had to do some shuffling in the spring, and so they moved Booker to guard, and he just flourished there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and you saw that he eventually worked his way into that starting lineup up front. So I think Kadyn Proctor could possibly have that type of shift this season in 2023. And to me, I think if he's going to take a spot, I hate to say it, but I think it's likely going to be at left guard replacing Darren Dalcourt.
Yeah, you probably right. And I like Dalcourt. He kind of does better at a guard position than he did at center. So if he can solidify himself, he's got a lot of experience. But them guys behind him are hungry. I know we hadn't even talked about him, but Ferguson's back there as well, who's wanting to see playing time. So I feel like Pritchett, he kind of struggled in the 8A game, but I mean, my gosh, that defense was just run. I mean, it seemed like Kevin Steele knew where the weakness was on that offensive line, and he exploited it in that game, and he did a great job at it. We'll talk about the defense another time, but Pritchett, I think once he gets a little bit more starts under his belt, starts catching up to game speed, I think he's going to be okay. But you're right, Stacey. I feel like the two question mark is going to be on that left side.
Yeah, and I don't think that they're going to be, just a major weakness of
Right.
this team. I just think that, like you said, that Pritchett needs some snaps, man. He needs some snaps in the
Hmm.
SEC. He's got to catch up to that speed. I mean, like you said,
Yeah.
Kevin Steele, he sent the
Oh,
kitchen
man.
sink out to Pritchett. I mean, he was blitzing
Yeah.
Malachi Moore off that edge all day long.
Yeah.
Uh, Pritchett couldn't keep Quindarius Robinson from getting in the backfield. So I mean, they attacked him, and that
Yep.
I think that was by design. I mean, trial by fire, and so
Hmm.
Pritchett's now got some reps against some high quality SEC competition throughout the spring and in the 8A game. He's kind of had his feet held to the fire a little bit, and he kind of knows what he has to do differently now. Maybe
Hmm.
why, maybe do a little different as far as his stance, maybe the way he
Hmm.
drops back with his lead foot. So I think there's some improvements, obviously, that Pritchett can make, and like you mentioned, Dalcourt kind of is what he is. I mean, he's
Right.
he's he's a solid player, Jake. I mean, he would be a starter at most SEC schools, so it's not like
Hmm.
the dude can't play. I mean, if he
Right.
would have went into the portal, Jake, I mean, I think some high programs would have went after him. I really believe
Right.
that some Power Five programs would have went after him. So it's not like he's chopped liver. He just I don't think he's a nasty kid. That's
Hmm.
nothing against him. I just don't think he has that in him,
Right.
and I think that's what kind of keeps him from kind of being that punishing offensive lineman that the coaching staff is looking for. But they're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. They're going to give him every opportunity to try to make his mark on that offensive line because he is a fifth year senior now. Chose to come back for another year instead of transferring out. So
Right.
obviously he believes that he has a chance to make an impact for this team. And also, he obviously loves this team, or he wouldn't have come back. So,
Yep.
I'm pulling for Dalcourt. I hope he can kind of put it together because, Jake, he wouldn't be given this many opportunities if the coaching staff didn't see something in him. And
Hmm.
I trust Coach Wolf. I trust Coach Saban. So I think they're going to put the best starting five out there. I just think that you could see some Kadyn Proctor sprinkled in there as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Kadyn Proctor is going to be a stud. Whether he's going to probably to start his ascension this year, like you said. But I mean, he is a behemoth of a man, like you said, and he's going to have to see the field at some point during the season. Like you said, he could be the Tyler Booker of this year's team potentially.
Right, right. I really believe that. And look, there's a lot of injuries that happen all the time on the offensive
Right.
line. So you better have some good depth. I think everyone's got some good depth. Now it's young depth, Jake. I mean, you got
Right.
Kadyn Proctor, Terrence Ferguson hadn't played a ton.
Mhm.
Jaden Roberts hasn't played a ton. You got the other freshman and Wilkin Formby,
Yep.
Elias Allien, who I think is going to be a really good player down the
McVay.
road. Miles McVay, I think is
McVay.
going to be a really good player down the road.
Hmm.
Rock Montgomery is going to be a really good player
Yeah.
down the road. So, but they're all down the road guys. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
They're
Yeah.
I keep saying down the road because they're all
Yeah.
freshmen or
I know.
redshirt freshmen. So, the experience is lacking, the talent is not. So if there happens to be some injuries along the offensive line, if there's some struggles, it won't be because of talent. It just because they're not experienced.
Yeah, and like you mentioned earlier, Stacy, trial by fire, and how do you get experience? You just get
Yeah,
stuck into a middle of a high intense SEC football game, on the road,
yeah,
and you just have to get out there and do your thing. But I do want to say one thing real quick, and I read this a few weeks ago, and I feel very confident about it. But I was reading that how more physical the defense, especially defensive line, has been in this spring, and we'll talk about the defense, like I said later. But being that nasty and being that more physical is just going to make your offensive line. They get pumped, popped in the mouth. They're like, "Whoa, we're going to take a step back and get more physical than they are." So that's just breeding that more nastiness that we've been missing in the last couple of seasons. So hopefully, you know, that nastiness is coming from the defensive side rubs off on the offense as well. So it's going to be fun to talk about the remaining of the summer. But man, I'm ready for football season to get here just to see what changes and who has improved the most.
Yeah, no doubt. The offense and the defense, like we said, they work hand in hand.
Hmm.
And so if the offensive line is more physical in practice, the defense has no choice but to become more physical.
That's
So
right. Yep.
they work hand in hand, and it's going to be important for the development of the young offensive linemen that they face a
Yep.
physical defensive front every day in practice. And I really like what this offensive line is doing. I think Coach Wolf has done a fantastic job. Like I said, he's entering his second year, but you can already kind of see him making his mark on the offensive line, and the competitiveness that those guys are playing with, the nastiness those guys are playing with, and the physicality they're playing with. And that was kind of all they talked about, whether it was J.C. Latham or Tyler Booker or Seth
Hmm.
McLaughlin, all those guys or Darren Dalcourt, all those guys talked about all spring was getting back to the Bama way and just being a more
Right.
physical group up front. And I think that's what Alabama fans have been wanting, and I think
Right.
that's what they're going to get back to. And look, Alabama has the talent and the coaching to flip a switch like that and be a totally different football team.
Hmm.
I
Absolutely.
mean, it can happen that quick. Trust me, trust me. I think you're going to see a much different brand of Alabama football in 2023. Now, I'm not
Yeah.
going to say we're going to be like Navy running the triple option. I'm just saying that
Right.
they're going to be a fickle bunch. There's going to be some nasty offensive line play, and there's going to be some headhunters on that defense, and I think it's
Ooh,
just
thank
gonna
God.
I think it's gonna give Alabama fans some good memories of the old days.
Yeah, man. I'm excited about it. This is, you know, I miss Bryce Young and I miss Will Anderson and them guys because what Bryce did, for the program was amazing. But I'm more excited about this year's team than I have been in the past. Just for the fact the nastiness is coming back. The coaching staff, like you said, we've got everybody in place to make a deep run, and that defense is just loaded. It's really, really talented across the board. And so, we may have question marks, in a few areas, but like I've said before, and like you said, Stacy, Saban's going to get it figured out and he's going to put the right players in the right situations to win ball games because that's what he's paid to do is to win ball games. And
Yep.
he's going to play the best players to get him that victory, no matter who it is.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right, that's going to wrap this episode as we kind of look at the offensive line post spring. Cannot wait to continue our series
Mhm.
here. We'll be moving to the defensive side of the football next. And by the time we get done with that, man, the SEC media days will probably be here, and then before you know it, fall camp will be starting. So
Try.
cannot wait to keep just diving into the discussion. And shout out to both the baseball and softball teams as they begin their
Good
postseason
job.
play. Or softball team continues their postseason play on
Yeah.
Thursday of this week in the Women's College World Series. So best of luck to those ladies, and best of luck to the baseball team who got freaking snubbed as the 16 seed. But that's a talk for another day. But
Yeah. Oh,
anyways,
crap.
anyways,
Whatever. Yeah.
anyways, make sure you like, share, and subscribe today. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single episode of Tide Talk Live. Find us on TikTok as well, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can find us on all the social media apps, so make sure you connect with us there. Jump in the comments and let us know your starting five on the offensive line and maybe some young guys who you think can make an impact in the fall as well. Like we said, jump in the description and look at the link. Click the link, excuse me, so you can find our Tide Talk Live T-shirts and Tide Talk Live mugs, and hopefully we'll have some more products up there pretty soon as well. But that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. Cannot wait to get back in here again to talk some more Alabama football. But until next time, roll Tide.
Roll Tide.